So the mainstream narrative around LDL specifically is the higher your LDL, the more likely you are to get atherosclerosis and die of heart disease, stroke, heart attack, things like that. What is your take?
That's a little bit true. I'm not even kidding. I just talked to somebody from Washington State like just a few minutes ago, and he is a cigarette smoker, and his LDL was off the chain. He was like 35 years old and his LDL was horrible. And I was like, well, bro, you probably just because you're smoking. And he was eating like fairly healthy, but I'm like, you gotta stop smoking cigarettes. And I showed him, I was sharing my screen, and I just pulled up like a couple studies showing that cigarette smoking raises LDL. And it's because, by the way, you're causing a whole bunch of inflammation, and your body has to heal from all that inflammation. You're shredding up your arteries with all the cigarette smoke chemicals and all this stuff, and your body has to heal that. So it raises cholesterol. It raises LDL. I don't even want to call it cholesterol because that's false, but that's what doctors do, and it's such a bad habit. But your LDL goes up from smoking to heal yourself from all that damage. So yeah, so there are cases where high LDL is indicative of a problem, meaning it's because of smoking, it's because of binge drinking. Binge drinking raises LDL. I think cocaine even raises LDL. There's a whole bunch of things that are really bad, like lack of sleep raises LDL. So it's a good marker for bad health if you're just looking at the general population sometimes. But then red meat raises LDL too, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. And you can't prove that there's anything wrong because there's nothing, the studies don't show that there's anything wrong. But again, like that's nuanced and that's complicated, and people don't want that kind of complication. But that's just the facts. That's why it's tricky.
Yeah, I love that. So the analogy I've heard a few times is it's kind of like, if aliens were looking down at our planet, they might notice that every time there's a fire in a building, there's a lot of firefighters that show up. And if they're not very bright, they might come to the conclusion that the firefighters are causing the fire, because every time there's a fire, there's a lot of these guys in weird suits around. But it's exactly backwards. So that's a similar thing with LDL, where we do find LDL in plaque in arteries, but the LDL is actually going there to repair the damage that's being done to the endothelium and the walls of our arteries, right? But it's not necessarily the thing that's causing that damage in the first place. Is that correct?
Exactly, 100%.
So what is causing the damage? What is the real culprit?